In this week's episode, we're going to look at how to talk about the coaching process in such a way that people can actually understand you. When coaches talk about coaching, they describe the process of coaching. Now, there's a reason for that, and that's because the process of coaching is transformational. We know that it's transformational because our lives have been transformed by it. And we really want to be able to convey the sense of wonder that we have at this incredibly powerful process that's simply a case of asking some questions and giving the person that you're talking to the space to think about the answers. Here's the thing, nobody cares. The title of this week's video, How to Talk About the Coaching Process So That People Can Understand You, is a bit of a red herring because the truth is nobody cares about the coaching process apart from us. So how do you talk about coaching in a way that makes people interested in what you've got to say? Well, you talk about outcomes. You talk about what your client can reasonably expect as an outcome from working with you. Now, I know just the fact I've said that has made you go, well, I can't possibly talk about outcomes. I can only talk about it depends, because it depends on the individual, it depends on the problem they've got, it depends on the work they put in, it depends. It depends. I can't answer that question. So here's the thing. While you are a coach and you are in your head on the delivery side of your business, you're quite right. The answer is it depends. But this YouTube channel isn't about coaching skills, it's about the other skill set that you need in order to create a financially viable coaching business. And that skill set are the skills you need in order to create the opportunities to do the development. And those are marketing skills. And on the marketing side of your business, you absolutely can talk about outcomes. And here's how that works. Everybody comes to coaching for a different reason. Now, the problem with that is if you wait for people to find coaching, they won't, because people don't understand what coaching is. And trying to inspire people by talking about a process is absolutely guaranteed to do the complete opposite. And the reason for that is that we don't care about processes, we care about outcomes. So for a coaching business, the way that works is that you have to have identified a particular kind of client. This is why the ideal client work exists, is so that you can speak to somebody in a way that they can understand why they should have coaching. So your ideal client, your personification of your perfect client, has a problem that you've chosen, a problem that you know exists, that keeps them awake at night. Now, that problem will be different for every single ideal client, and that's why it's a chunky piece of work, and it's difficult for me to say, oh, this is what your ideal client is struggling with, because it depends on who your ideal client is. So the thing that keeps your client awake at 3 a.m. is the thing that you will talk about in your marketing. And the reason that you will talk about it is because you want that kind of client to feel understood. You want them to feel like they know that you know what they're going through. Now, before you get in a funk about this, you're not only ever going to coach one kind of person on one kind of problem. The purpose for the 3 a.m. problem and the outcome that your clients are looking for is to get them engaged in a conversation with you in the first place. So when I say talk about outcomes, let me give you some examples. In my book, A Coaching Business in a Book, I talk about 3 different kinds of clients, and I use them as examples throughout the book. So let's use them here as well. One is the mum who's returning to work after a maternity break. One is the young manager, the person who's been moved into a leadership position for the first time ever. And the third one is somebody who's coming up for retirement. Now, each of those people could really do with some coaching, but each of them needs to hear a very different thing in order to understand why they should need coaching. So let's look at them one at a time. The mum returning to work. So that woman will have a head full of guilt. She'll be agonizing about the fact that she's going to leave her precious new offspring with somebody else while she's going to work. She might also have feelings of guilt around the fact that she's really looking forward to being able to leave her precious new offspring with somebody else while she goes back to work. She'll be worrying perhaps about how things have changed while she's been away and any differences in the team, new people moved on, changes of responsibility. She'll be worrying if she's still up to it, because for the last however long she's been off, she hasn't had her head in the work game, she's had her head in the new mum game, and that's a very different game. And so the person who is returning to work following a maternity break, is the outcome that she's looking for is that this transition is as painless as possible, and that she can leave the guilt that she's feeling behind, she can put it down, and she can find herself in a situation where she can flourish at work and flourish at home. The thing that's keeping her awake at 3 a.m. are all the mind monkeys surrounding, is she letting her child down? What if she can't do the job? What will everybody think? Will she still fit? Will she still love her job as much as she did? All of the things that you can sit down and make a list, particularly if you've ever been a mom who's returning to work after a maternity break, you can make a list of those things. So the 3 a.m. problem is the list of things, and the outcome that the coachee, in this case the mum returner, wants is a smooth transition with minimal, if any, guilt. The second kind of client we talked about is the new leader, somebody who is being promoted into a position of superiority, basically, over people who were previously his teammates, her teammates. Now that person has a different set of 3 a.m. worries that can still be solved by coaching, and they go something like this. What if I'm not up to the job? I know I'm great at the delivery stuff. What if I'm rubbish at managing people? What if I become that boss that nobody likes? What if I lose my friends? My teammates are good friends of mine, and I don't want them to think that I'm too big for my boots or that I think I'm better than they are. What if I get this job and do really badly at it, and then I'm demoted back to the team? Then I'll be a failure and it will be really visible to everyone. I'm really worried about this promotion and I don't know if I can do it. Now, the outcome that that person is looking for is that they get the promotion, they manage to manage their team effectively without losing friendships, and they manage to create the boundaries that need to exist between a supervisor and a team member within work, and manage that boundary outside of work, so that the transition from team member to first rung of the management ladder is smooth and comfortable and doesn't keep them awake at night anymore. Can you see that that outcome is something that that person wants, and understanding the things that are keeping them awake at 3 a.m. means that you are joining the conversation that's going on inside their heads. The third kind of potential coaching client that I mentioned is somebody who's coming up for retirement. Now, some people who are coming up for retirement are very excited about it and they can't wait. But there's a whole other group who don't feel like that at all. And this other group could benefit from coaching. What's keeping the other group awake at night is a fear of loss. They're going to lose the structure of their life, previous life. The framework of their whole life to date has been their job that they've gone to every day and the people that they hang around with every day, and they're going to lose all of those contacts, all of that daily chit chat, all of the relationships and the companionship of their colleagues, and they're suddenly going to find themselves, this is what they worry about, that they're suddenly going to find themselves with no framework to their day and just an endless period of time stretched out in front of them with nothing to do and no hope. Now, that person, the outcome they want is that they transition from work into retirement in a positive way, with a plan for the future, feeling excited and energized rather than feeling terrified. And can you see that if you talk about the outcome, then they will think, gosh, I want a conversation with this coach. Whereas if you talk about the coaching process, I'm going to ask you questions and you're going to think about it. Well, they think they've been doing that anyway themselves, don't they? They think that that's what the 3 a.m. thing is. Them going over and over and over the problems that they've got and not coming up with any solutions. And so trying to sell the coaching process to those people won't work, because the coaching process, frankly, doesn't sound very exciting to anyone who isn't a coach. But the outcomes, boy, do they sound exciting. Do they sound aspirational? Do they sound just like what this kind of individual is looking to achieve? So how do you talk about the coaching process in a way that potential clients can understand? You don't. You talk about the outcomes they want to achieve. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a single episode. I really look forward to helping you thrive in your coaching business.